This is Radio Sheridan, live from the historic Rogers Park neighborhood in Chicago. This is a show about whatever the hell I feel like, and here with us today we have
Charles Pigozzi.
And yours truly, William Bermudez. If you're wondering where Julian is, he actually no longer lives in Chicago. He relocated to the West Coast for a job. I certainly wish him well for that. This week, Charlie has the quote of the day, so if you want to go ahead and read that.
It's a shorter one. It's from Salvador Dali. If you don't know who he is, look him up. It goes, "Have no fear of perfection, you'll never reach it."
Mm-hmm. And speaking in his frame of reference, he was a painter, and within the arts, that's certainly something that many fear. Like one might have like a perfect image of something they want to put on canvas in their head, but it would be very difficult to get that exact thing on the canvas. And it's definitely, I think, relevant to a lot of other fields, other endeavors as well, because, you know, and it's true, like one cannot truly achieve perfection, but what it comes down to is being able to be comfortable with what one is able to do.
Yeah.
In a sense. Yeah. Yep. So, in a few weeks since we were last on here, there have been a lot of things happening.
A lot of shit has happened.
Yeah, a lot. We can start off with talking about the temporary ending to the shutdown. About a week or two ago, Trump said that he would be basically ending the shutdown temporarily. He said that if an agreement has not been reached by the Democrats by February 15th, then he would be continued. Then the shutdown apparently would continue. And I have to wonder if this was if the reason why he said it would be a temporary ending was because of the temporary blocking of flights coming into LaGuardia Airport, because a lot of the air traffic controllers were saying, we are not currently staffed enough to do this. We cannot have any. We have to shut down the airport. And then didn't that happen on the same day that Roger Stone got arrested?
Oh, that was different.
Yeah, was that the same day though, or was that the day after?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
But
yeah, what basically happened was that
Trump caved.
Yeah, he caved. He caved. He realized that that he couldn't continue to do that. He couldn't continue to have all of these things up in the air with the shutdown, because there was having these sort of implications that, in my opinion, were affecting the elites.
Yeah.
Because that's one of the busiest airports in the world, and if that's shut down, then all this commerce stops, transport stops, all of these very important things stop.
Yeah. TSA too, that. I know, especially throughout the country, the TSA was understaffed because workers were like, "I'm not getting paid, so I'm just going to call."
Yeah, they were calling in sick.
Yeah.
It was sort of like a soft strike in a sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, and when Reagan was president, the air traffic controllers went on strike, and he actually decided to just fire all of them. That was I think right after he became president. It was in 81, I think.
Oh.
Yeah. So. They were. I don't know if Trump. I don't think Trump was really was he gonna be able to do that? He wasn't gonna try to do that. No.
I'd be very surprised if Trump did that. If he just fired a bunch of.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't solve anything.
No,
it wouldn't solve anything at all. It would cause even more of a disruption in commerce and travel. Yeah. So I wonder if the shutdown is actually going to restart on the 15th, or if he's going to I wonder though if everyone's gonna just forget about it by then. If Trump's gonna forget about it even.
Declare a national emergency.
Yeah, if he's gonna say just give up on it. That's what a lot of people were saying. When he said that the shutdown was suspended, that he would just declare a national emergency if he doesn't get his way. Yeah. Oh yeah, his State of the Union speech is on Tuesday.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, God, no.
Right, let me...
That's an hour long of him just...
Yeah, of him...
babbling on.
Right. Let's see. He has, I'm trying to see, what he said the theme was going to be, because he actually did come out with this, I think, yesterday.
Protecting our borders.
Oh, yeah, the topic of the theme was going to be choosing greatness. He said that's going to be the theme of it. I'm looking at CNBC here. It says there's an article that says Trump's State of the Union address will offer a quote bipartisan way forward on immigration, and yeah, and also that official apparently declined to say whether Trump would declare a national emergency if Congress does not appear as though it'll reach a bipartisan security plan that will include wall funding.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, people were saying, and like I remember hearing like his Trump's idea for a wall has like gone from like being like a concrete barrier to steel slats, and a lot of people are saying that like the reason why he wants to do steel slats now is because that'll benefit people he's connected with in the steel industry.
Right.
So, yeah, it's obviously just like a way for him to profit off of this, and a way for his cronies to profit as well.
But the whole thing about the wall in the beginning is those mock-ups he had, those weren't built by engineers, they were built by contractors.
Yeah.
And this wall that Trump imagines, like, it's a lot more than just a bunch of precast wall segments. Is that the engineering involved in that, you have to worry about drainage, and it's if Trump were to get his magical fucking wall, it would be more than $5 billion.
Oh, much more.
It would be significantly more, because you're dealing with actual engineering issues. Like, contractors are... Trump just got that number from contractors.
Yeah, and funny thing about it, speaking of contractors, if there is another government shutdown, the contractors wouldn't even get back pay. Yeah, I have to wonder, maybe that's the reason why he wants to use contractors. And you know, I don't know if you've seen like other like State of the Union addresses. It's going to be interesting to see who applauds him and who stands up to applaud him. If like, because like often I think it was actually the last State of the Union address. All the Republicans would like almost after everything he said give him a standing ovation, but all the Democrats would sit down.
I thought this was his first. Has he done a State of the Union before?
Well, he would have done one last year, wouldn't he? In 2018.
I'm not sure.
I think he did.
Did he?
Well, I know that in 2017, the one he did was just like a general address to Congress. But there would have been one in 2018 also, I think. Yeah, I mean, he says, also that official said the question Trump was going to pose was, are we going to seek common ground and choose the politics of cooperation and compromise? But really, Trump's the one that needs to compromise here. You know, even other Republicans have admitted that the wall is not a good idea. So... that, you know, the reason why they're pushing the wall is because it plays well with his base. Right. You know, it's a symbolic thing. It's like a physical thing that they have in their mind that would actually supposedly have like some sort of effect. And even if the wall does get built, it's not going to have as major an effect. I mean, it's not going to get built. It's not going to. But it's ludicrous. Yeah, and a lot of people are saying like there are still drones that can like take like people like are saying it's the ultimate solution for like drug trafficking and stuff, but there are still drones that can like take stuff over the wall. And you know, like the cartels are wealthy enough that they're not going to stop just because a wall is put up.
You can buy a ladder.
Yeah, you can buy a ladder. You can, yeah, like you can figure out other solutions that
you can dig under it too.
Yeah, although I've heard people like say that like the wall is going to be also built underground as well. It's going to have some sort of like, it's going to extend underground somehow. I don't know.
It's just, I am surprised the Democrats aren't like polling more. I'm surprised that the Democrats aren't using this moment to say, you know what, like fuck your security, we're demanding like the Green New Deal and like the Medicare for all.
Yeah.
I'm surprised Democrats aren't using this moment to like really push for like I guess like more of the progressive policies.
Yeah, I think more Democrats don't want that because a lot of them are corporate Democrats. Like it goes against their own interests and the interests of their donators, of the people funding their campaigns, to be, you know, pro-environment and pro-Medicare for all, because like there's a lot of fossil fuel people that are funding Democrats. Yeah. If you look at I don't know, like I don't have like off the top of my head specifically who's funded, who is funded by those lobbyists, but that would put a significant dent in their fundraising and would definitely make the the Democrats less appealing to those backers. Yeah. Let's see. All right, so I'm just gonna see what else is going on regarding the shutdown delay here. Let's see. Yeah, and apparently Donald Trump was quoted as saying that Nancy Pelosi was very rigid during the shutdown. I mean, like Nancy, like I was like, I mean, Pelosi like has had like a good like response to what a lot of what Trump is saying. Like she's like been very like she's been sort of the adult in the room in a lot of the senses. You know, she has been in politics for not only has she been in politics for much longer than Trump has. She knows in a sense how to even control him. So that's good.
Yeah, I'm very much laughing at the fact that Matt has walked out.
Yeah.
Of the administration.
He's just done. Yeah, he just he and a lot of Democrats were like in support of Mattis as well because like this was a guy who was like a very much like a career military guy. Like he knew like how to negotiate with other countries, and that's like Trump just doesn't even care.
No.
Yeah, he doesn't.
Trump's a moron. Like
Yeah. Oh, another negative effect of the shutdown has been the national parks. Not only were they were heavily vandalized. There was also in I believe California some of the in the Joshua Tree National Park there was such like significant damage to a lot of the trees. Like it would take like hundreds of years for the trees to recover.
Whoa.
Yeah. Like
were people chopping down trees?
Something like that. Yeah.
No. That's awful.
Yeah. And there was, I mean, I guess like they didn't want to completely close off the parks because like maybe it would like look bad or something.
Yeah.
So, but that probably would have been, I think, the best option here.
Right.
Yeah. All right. So we will know probably in the next few weeks like what the how like whether the shutdown is going to continue or if Trump's going to declare a national emergency, and it'll be interesting to see how that unfolds.
I know economically the shutdown didn't really do that much damage.
Didn't it? I mean, I heard.
No, not. I guess if you were to compare it to what economists are saying about like late 2019, 2020, of the possibility of another recession is that based on like numbers, economists are saying that it's gonna start slowing down. The most conservative estimate is it won't be a contraction economically. It'll just be a slower growth rate. But
interesting.
I mean, if say Brexit doesn't really, if they don't get a good deal, and if England's economy tanks, that could have really bad effects.
Yeah, because there's because like London is like pretty much the financial center of the world. Yeah, I mean, yeah. And I just saw an ABC News article that apparently the shutdown cost the U.S. economy at least $6 billion, and that's a higher price. That's a higher price than what Trump quoted for the border wall. So, I mean, it's now. I mean, the border wall would have cost more in the end, but I mean, even what Trump was saying was less than what the shutdown cost, and that's not money that's going to be recouped or anything.
I was reading, according to the American Society of Civil Engineers, based on their 2017 report card of infrastructure, we have a D+ overall.
Wow, compared to the rest of the world?
Wow. You want to be in like the B and A range.
Yeah.
But they had another report that said if our infrastructure isn't given, if it's not given the $1.5 trillion investment it needs, you'll see I think it was $3.6 trillion loss in GDP by 2025.
Wow.
In this country.
So yeah, I mean, you need to spend money in order to save that money that's going to be lost. I mean, $3.6 trillion, that's like what, 2 wars worth.
Yeah.
That's such like a massive loss, and that's only gonna make other countries look stronger for commerce. Wow.
It's just so fucked up.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's not even like all international commerce. Also, that's like interstate commerce. That's like interstate commerce. Also, I mean, think of like all of the truck drivers that are going to be feeling that.
Right.
I mean, think of all of the shipping and all of the travel that's going to be affected if we don't start spending on infrastructure.
Yeah.
And that's a bipartisan thing. I mean, there's no reason really for any politician to oppose infrastructure. Unless they want to focus on other things that they feel their money might be better spent using.
Right. Oh, actually, I have the figures. if you look up infrastructurereportcard.org 2017 infrastructure report card, it'll be a three. Actually, I gave a smaller estimate. $3.9 trillion in losses to U.S. GDP by 2025, $7 trillion in lost business sales by 2025, and 2.5 million lost American jobs in 2025.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Huh. Yeah, that's not, and yeah, I mean, not only is it commerce, it's jobs as well, and these are like good paying union jobs in terms of infrastructure and construction and engineering.
Oh.
Wow.
I can see how that could lead to a contraction in the U.S. economy.
Oh, you think? Yeah, that how good are the more developing parts of Africa looking now? How good is Nigeria looking now? It's like all the foreign investors are spending money into there.
Yeah.
I was actually in an Uber the other night with a guy who was originally from Nigeria, and he was discussing how like so much of their economy now is like, since a lot of people don't want to go into agriculture now because like there isn't enough money, everybody's going into petrochemical. Yeah, like that's what people are trying to study there, because because it's such an oil-rich area, and although in previous years the refining was also done in Nigeria, now it's being shipped over to other countries instead. But like it's like causing a big problem, because like since even though that area used to be like a breadbasket for so much of West Africa, now nobody wants to do that. Everyone wants to go to college just to study petrochemical engineering. So that's And people there. Speaking of oil and petrochemicals, there is a quote from Sarah Huckabee Sanders about oil and gas. Let me see if I can find. She was saying things like that America is now like one of the strongest countries in the world for that because of Trump.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, and it's not like we're still like. If it was, then we wouldn't still be in the Middle East.
Yeah, I mean, if it's not 2020 or mid 2020s, that the U.S. economy, we're definitely headed towards not being a leading power anymore.
Yeah.
Because I think happening right now is the U.S. dollar isn't going to be the reserve currency of the internationally anymore.
Yeah. Probably the euro.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Especially in the Middle East, that I just those wars can't be sustained, and a huge military contraction like that, is not good for that region, because the U.S. getting involved in the first place was such a stupid idea. But if we leave now, we haven't really built anything that. If America leaves, that it'll create this vacuum.
Yeah, it'll create a vacuum of power, and then probably within another 5 years, America will be right back in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why it's like such a, on one hand, it's like we shouldn't be in there in the first place, which is why, in a sense, like Trump pulling out of Syria is not a bad thing. But what's gonna come as a result of that? We've created a situation in that country where
we can't leave.
We can't leave. Yeah, we can't leave. We can't we can't monitor it from afar.
Right.
That's such a big problem.
Quite a big quagmire.
Yeah, we have. And speaking of interventionism, let's talk a little bit about Venezuela.
Yeah.
The president, Juan Guaido, I believe his name is, has basically taken over the presidency, despite Maduro winning what is pretty much decided at this point to be a very much rigged election. Mm-hmm. And some people are saying that the U.S. should just go in and support this.
No.
Yeah, and that's no. Even if you look at South America
in the past, business.
It's none of our business. And who knows? People are saying maybe it didn't work in Iran or in Chile or anywhere else where it's been tried before, but maybe it'll work in Venezuela. And people are saying Maduro's leadership of the country has been so poor and caused so much famine that it's justified for the U.S. to do this. but it's not our problem, and it's not
Right.
going to cause anything. It's not going to cause any other.
Right.
It's not going to cause things to get better.
If we don't do anything, then like we won't be affected.
Yeah.
Like just I guess if what's weird, not weird, I guess, when before I left I recently left the Socialist Party USA, but when I was in it before I left on Facebook, a lot of the socialists were supporting Maduro, and some of them were kind of nutty in the sense that they supported him, like, oh, he's a socialist, like Chavez was a socialist. But some people who said Maduro is a better choice than this opposition leader said this opposition leader is right leaning and wants to privatize a lot of the public projects that Chavez set up in place to help the working people.
Yeah, I mean, our country is starving and our citizens are eating out of the trash, but at least our industry is still nationalized, right?
So again, this is a situation where it's just there really is no choice. There really is no good choice, other than not doing anything and just not supporting anybody. Because Maduro, he's not a good leader. He's not.
No, he's not.
But the opposition leader is a right-leaning privatizer, dude.
Yeah, he's a would you call him a neocon, or is he? Perhaps maybe not that far right, but
yeah, he's conservative.
Okay, so he's just he's generally conservative.
So, and there's a reason why Republicans are backing him, and Trump and Pence are.
Yeah. Because they would stand to benefit from the privatization of those industries.
Like the opposition leader would privatize a lot of, I guess he would make a deal with the U.S. like, oh, I'll export a bunch of oil.
Yeah.
So it's a classic case of U.S. imperialism.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, and U.S. imperialism that has created short-term profits but long-term chaos in those countries. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I've heard people when there was last year, in the last couple of years, when there has been this famine, there has been such a and also there's been such a poor economic condition there that the federal employees in Venezuela were downsized to 4 days a week of work as opposed to 5 because the government couldn't afford to pay them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's definitely a situation that the U.S. shouldn't be involved, and I don't have an opinion for either of the leaders. I neither camp Maduro or camp opposition leader.
Yeah, even Mnuchin says that Guaido is the rightful leader of Venezuela. So yeah, you see, the Trump administration is saying that this guy is the rightful leader. I mean, we can't say once the I mean, I'm no fan of Maduro, but he is. I mean, he clearly is not the right person to lead that country. It's just effectively rigging elections and setting himself up as a quasi dictator.
Yeah.
But is Guaido going to be much better? Is he going to fall into the same trap?
Right.
We don't know, and it's not really the role of the United States to get involved necessarily there.
It's kind of like gum.
Like gum?
No, I guess Noam Chomsky. I forget the quote, but he said something that the problem with the Middle East is even getting involved in the first place, especially with the Iraq War and Saddam Hussein. Even before that, is that this whole idea of America putting its face in other countries' business is, once you do that, our country becomes more than just an instigator of propping up a dictator. You become invested in that country. It's like having a relationship that you can't just have a one-night stand. It becomes a detachment that you have a significant effect. For the U.S. to go in there and prop up its own government is so
It creates a puppet regime.
Right, and it's something you can't just walk away from.
Yeah.
And Chomsky said that in situations like that, it would have been better for the U.S. to sit on the sideline and let the people of that country decide what they want. Let internal democratic forces do what they will.
Yeah. Yeah, the only problem with that is if you have a leadership that's not going to respect the will of the people, like Maduro rigging the election, that causes the problem. So it is sort of a catch-22. Like, you don't want to go in and back up this opposition government, but at the same time, the leadership is going to be corrupt to the point where they're not going to step down, even if the people decide they need to.
So I guess my opinion with Venezuela is just don't fucking do anything. Let it. If the Venezuelans want someone different, they can do that. It's not the role of the U.S. to go in there and.
Yeah, we're not the world's police.
Yeah.
All right. Oh yeah, there was another article that's going back to border security. There was a 60-foot long tunnel found next to a border wall in Texas.
Border Patrol agents discovered a new 60-foot long tunnel still in progress. It's located in Hidalgo. They brought pictures to show President Trump during his recent visit.
I mean, you've seen them on the news in Arizona and New Mexico.
Like, you can't, like, when the wall's going to get built, you cannot build it on top of a river. You know, like, the river's going to have to be, going to have to be on either one side of the wall. Yeah, you know, are we going to take it from Mexico, or are we going to, you know, put it in front of the river on the north side of it and seed the entire river to Mexico?
Right.
And, you know, and you can't even have, like, I mean, you wouldn't really even be able to have, like, different ports of entry for the river in there, because that would just cause an extra border entry. Yeah.
That would you can use a Trump solution or like a contractor solution. It's just dredge the lake, just fill it in, get rid of it.
Yeah, just get rid of the river completely.
Just reroute it somewhere else.
Yeah. Wow.
Dam it up.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. Another thing. We could talk a little bit about Brexit. There's actually been a plan in place that if there is like rioting as a result of Brexit, the Queen is actually going to be evacuated from the country. If there is
That's the thing. Rioting is a fear now.
If there is like substantial unrest in regards to Brexit.
So how far are they on the vote? Aren't they getting close to the deadline?
Yeah, they are, and it's unclear whether the EU is going to give them more time to discuss if they do go past the deadline. So people are wondering if there's going to be a hard Brexit, in which case they leave the EU without even a plan in place. And that will cause like a substantial problem. That's like a big fear in Ireland. And the worst part about it is, in Ireland, if that were to happen, that means there would be a solid border between the north and the south. And that would basically mean that the Troubles would probably restart. There would be like, you know, sectarian violence in Ireland again.
Our hard border didn't work in Ireland.
No, it didn't. Yeah, I mean, the leader of Sinn Féin, which is basically the very much like pro-United Ireland party, has even mentioned that. Like, even he says that there should be they would call for a united Ireland in that case, meaning that the northern Irish counties would become a part of Ireland as a whole.
So I guess the nationalists would win.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, nationalists wanted to be united Ireland, or typically it would be called like the Republicans being part of the Republic of Ireland, as opposed to the Unionists wanting to be part of the UK. Oh yeah, it's Mary Lou McDonald is the current leader of Sinn Féin. She says that they would want it to be another referendum, basically.
Oh.
Yeah, they would want basically a referendum to decide whether they should be whether Northern Ireland should be part of the Republic of Ireland, because the people of Northern Ireland, according to her, did not consent to Brexit. So, yeah, and yeah.
Is the EU gonna extend the deadline?
I don't know. I can find out. EU Brexit.
Because I would be surprised if the EU wouldn't, because I mean the ramifications for a hard Brexit, it would not be good. That could really shake up the economy with England quite a bit, and that's not what you want. You don't want to rock the boat in terms of.
Yeah, and I guess the foreign secretary of Britain said that there would have to be. She said that if they ended up approving a deal in the days before March 29th, which is the deadline, they might need extra time to pass the critical legislation before they could actually go into play. So even if there is like a deal agreed upon by that time, they would still need time before it actually goes into effect to draft legislation
to figure out how they're going to get food and
to like water. Basically rearrange their whole economy to cooperate with their to cooperate with no longer being part of the EU.
Jesus Christ.
Yep.
I was watching a Vice video, and it was this English truck driver, and he was saying that I voted against Brexit because when I started my career as being a truck driver, in the days of having a border, it was such a pain in the ass because he had to go through all these checkpoints and had to have all this paperwork. And he said before Brexit, during the EU, it was a nice fluid transition between borders. You didn't have to, because you're talking about produce, these people trucking in like fruits and vegetables.
Yeah.
And if you have all these checkpoints and every driver's is examined, you're gonna have a queue that's gonna accumulate.
Yeah.
Which you don't want. You don't want fresh food sitting.
Right. Yeah, you don't. Yeah, like that's like one of the worst ways to have a delay. Like if you're like transporting those sort of perishable goods, you're gonna lose a lot of money that way. Yeah, you're gonna have to basically rearrange those routes and rearrange the ways those are negotiated.
Yeah.
How those different transition points are negotiated.
That when my family was in Germany for New Year's, Cece when she was in New Zealand, her roommates came to Germany to hang out with us, and Cece's German friend Eustace, who was in New Zealand as well. That's how they knew each other, from foreign exchange. Mm-hmm. That one of them, Sam, he's English, and he voted against Brexit. He, like, whenever you brought it up, he's like, please, I don't want to talk about it. He was so angry about it.
Wow.
That he said the whole concept of having a 50-50 vote on something as big of an issue as Brexit is stupid. It should have been 2/3.
Oh, yeah.
To decide where half the country is like, yep, we're leaving the EU. It's just not logical. It's not a fair vote. It should have been.
No, it's not.
If you're gonna make a decision like that, it has to be 3/4 majority.
Yeah, especially, and a lot of people don't realize that the referendum that was voted on, that's a non-binding referendum. I think a lot of people don't realize that like, even though like there was a vote in favor of Brexit, that's not even like required that they have to go through with it. I mean, it would be bad for the people, like the constituents. It would be bad for the members of parliament of the constituencies that voted for Brexit if they have to go against it. Mm-hmm. But there's nothing that obligates them to actually go ahead with Brexit.
I think it has to do with that if the people vote in favor of referendum and the government does act on it, that kind of looks bad, and
it makes the government look weak.
Democracy.
Yeah.
In a way.
In a sense, yeah.
And
they would like think that the government knows what's best or something. Right. That wouldn't look good.
I wonder why can't they just have another referendum?
Yeah, like people have that's been suggested, I think, but a lot of people were saying like, what if there's another referendum and it still says leave?
Well, change it, make it 2/3.
Yeah. Well, you know what they could do? They could do say let me think. You could have like 3 choices, like hard Brexit, soft Brexit, and no Brexit. So that way, like the hard and soft Brexits would split the vote, and that means that the no Brexit would have the lead.
Right. And yeah, it's just What's really odd too is Sam explained the Conservative Party it's just a bunch of morons, and that is a majority of the, I don't know British politics, but I guess you have a computer. I want to know what percentage of the Conservative Party in England is in favor of even exiting.
Okay. Percent of Are you referring to the conservative politicians or conservative?
The party.
Oh, the party.
Conservative Party, I think.
Yeah. Okay. You can conservative party.
Because there's also the Labor Party, which is.
Yeah. Okay. So this is an article from November. This is from Politico. And I guess it says, the article says most British voters want Brexit. Oh, this is for the compromise. Never mind. Percent of. Oops. I'm trying to find. I know that a lot of people in Britain favor a second Brexit referendum. I guess like 78% of Labour would support the second referendum, but most Conservatives wouldn't. I'm trying to see like what percent of. Here we go. What percent of Conservative MPs are in favor of Brexit?
Yeah. Probably a small number.
Well, let's see.
Well, in favor, but probably the majority of the party is.
Yeah. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, some of these articles are like before Theresa May's before her proposal was rejected. But let's see. Yeah. I think like she'd ended up not having enough votes for the bill anyway. So there are some people. Like a lot of. There's about like maybe 2/3 of the party that were like very loyal towards her in terms of getting that through. Let's see.
Oh God, she's like incompetent as.
Yeah. Yeah, I have to wonder like how things would be different if Jeremy Corbyn ended up winning the if the Labour Party ended up winning the most recent general election. If Jeremy Corbyn would have been the leader instead.
Sam was telling me that the Labour Party, that Jeremy Corbyn is part of the old left, which is more of the like socialists, like workers' rights, more of, like the kind of philosophy out of Eugene V. Debs. Mm-hmm. Not like a Marxist, but in the sense of a workers' party.
More syndicalist.
And Jeremy Corbyn, he's gotten a lot of hate from the new left, which is the more neoliberal left, like what's his name? Tony Blair.
Tony Blair,
is the new left. Which.
Yeah, and they're the ones that are, in some sense, they're going to be profiting off of a lot of this, profiting off of. There's a petition actually to, I think some people in, some like pro-Brexit people in Britain started this. Someone like posted a petition for if Brexit happens to like invite Ireland back into the UK. I mean, that would never happen. But the fact that like some people are even considering that even as a possibility is kind of ridiculous.
I could see if England does a hard Brexit, I could see Scotland and Ireland doing voting.
I could see especially Scotland
getting out of the UK to stay in the EU.
Yeah. Apparently, there's a BBC article, I think it was from today. It says, regarding Brexit, Theresa May determined to leave the EU in March.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because my mom's cousin's husband is Scottish, and they live in Scotland, and Kenny is his name. He has his business like all over Europe, and he says he's definitely looking forward. He wants Scotland to basically say, well, fuck you, UK. We're staying in the EU. We're gonna have a referendum to leave the UK.
Wow. Yeah. There was a referendum about 3 or 4 years ago, and they did actually say to stay in the. It was in 2014. They wanted to stay. Yeah. That was let's see what the percentage was on that. It was oh wow, it was close. 55% said don't leave, and 45% said leave.
Damn.
So it was very close. Probably given all this Brexit stuff, it would probably tip the scales in favor of yes this time if there was another vote. But if there was one for Northern Ireland, I'm not sure that it would pass because like so about 2/3 of Northern Ireland is pro-union. So I don't know if that would actually pass.
So Northern Ireland joining the rest of.
or like remaining part of the UK.
Oh,
Yeah.
so you'd actually have a.
I think they would still like be in favor of being part of the UK.
Oh.
I think I'm not.
So what would they do then? Like revert back to the hard border? Between...
Yeah, I think they would. That's basically.
That's not what you want to do.
No,
Like...
and that would result in a lot of Republican sentiments being stirred up to the point where you would have like sectarian violence again.
Yeah, you'd have like terrorism.
Yeah.
IRA car bombs and shit.
Right. Wow. All right. Let's see. We can talk about the
French yellow vests.
Oh yeah, the
That's
vests.
still ongoing.
That is ongoing. Yeah. Let's see what's going on new regarding that.
Surprised the police haven't broken yet and said fuck Macron.
Yeah. You know, there's actually Macron actually says he's considering a referendum actually to stop the crisis. He wants to yeah. Apparently he has said that the ballot papers have already been pre-ordered to have a May 26th. It would basically be having several questions about like, different economics and social issues. And one of the questions, like some people are speculating, one of the questions might actually include whether France needs to reduce the number of lawmakers that it has and whether their terms should be shortened.
Or if Macron could renationalize the industries that his people nationalized. That's why a lot of French are angry, because I think the railroad industry got privatized.
Yeah.
And again, like Macron is a neoliberal, and that's what his order is. That's why the people are angry.
Yeah,
neoliberals privatizing everything.
Yeah, he only has about like a 20% approval rate at this point. Yeah, I mean, I guess he's better than Marine Le Pen would have been probably, because probably had Marine Le Pen got elected, they probably would be facing their own French exit from EU crisis, and who knows how that would have ended.
I was watching Rick Steves, and he said that when the EU first started, that was a major accomplishment in Europe, because that would stop stop all of the World War. You wouldn't have Germans and French fighting each other over.
Yeah, you would have like economic. It was preceded by the what was it called? The European Economic Community, I think, was like the original like form of the EU, and that was sort of like how it was not only like to. It was. I mean, the main focuses of it is to lessen tensions between European countries, but it's also to promote free trade between the countries.
Right.
Yeah, and that's how that's been such like a big benefit for Europe since it's happened. Like there's free trade, you can work for other countries, you can travel freely. Yeah. I mean that's been such a good benefit of the EU. But
very left wing policy.
Yeah.
Economic policy.
It is, and the reason a lot of people are opposed to it is because it's unelected. Like that's like a lot of people in the UK are opposed to the EU because it's an unelected. They consider it an unelected bureaucracy that they only get to choose like who represents them in the EU. So that's a big problem for some people.
I could honestly see if England has a hard Brexit of them just having a recession.
Maybe, yeah.
And if that happens, that could really I could see America like getting a recession out of that.
Maybe
just a contraction like that is not good.
Yeah, and if that does happen, I wonder if like the future leader is going to say that they just cancel Brexit and become part of the EU again, but then the EU is going to have to decide if they want Britain back in. Wouldn't that be something if like they asked to go back to the EU and the EU just said no? You're on your own.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
I guess in other news too is Merkel is stepping down.
Oh, she's stepping down.
Yeah, it's her last run at prime minister.
Interesting.
So, she already has a predecessor. Is that after, right?
Successor.
Successor which her successor is in the same party that she's from, the Christian Democratic Union, which is.
They're like center, right? Kind of.
Yeah. And being over there talking to some Germans, a lot of them say a big issue is the right-wing party, the Alternative for Germany, is getting popular. Because recently I think they have 20% of the
Which party is this?
Alternative for Germany.
Alternative for Germany?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's their right-wing
Oh, I see.
party.
Yeah.
And it's scary for them because, when Hitler when Germany embraces right-wing ideology, you don't really get the best.
Yeah. And they're Eurosceptic too. So maybe they'll want to leave the EU now. Who knows? Yeah. They're right-wing populist.
Oh,
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
That's anti-feminism,
Direct democracy, anti-immigration, anti-Islam.
national conservatism, German nationalism.
Yep.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. There's another party too. I mean, they're not at all.
They're not called the Nazi Party, but
They're not. What's it called? Is that it? Yeah, the NPD, the National Democratic Party of Germany. They're actually like legitimate. They're actually like literal neo-Nazis.
Oh.
Yeah. They have only. It's interesting. They don't have any seats in the Bundestag, which is like the main like Congress of Germany or the state parliaments. They have one seat.
Reich?
What's it?
Is it the right? Or do they have seats in Reichstag?
No, it's the Bundestag, but no,
Okay.
they don't have any seats in there. They have one seat apparently in the European Parliament, though.
Huh.
Yeah, they have one seat in there.
What about the alternative?
Oh, the alternative for the AfD. Let's see. They have 91 seats in the Bundestag. That's out of 709. And they have 188 seats in the state parliaments, so that's like about maybe 12% or so. And they also have one seat in the European Parliament.
That's not. That's a number you don't want rising.
No, it really is, and yeah.
That's fucked up.
They have a youth organization too, Young Alternative. Young Alternative. They apparently I guess like the party itself has been like somewhat wayward, so that's interesting. Apparently it's not functioning very well.
Oh, so they don't have the Hitler?
No, they're not.
around?
They're not as like. There's not considered like a fundamental part of the party. Like
They don't have a cult leader.
No, they don't.
They don't have
it's not like
stormtroopers.
No, they don't have that, I don't think. Yeah, they don't have like as charismatic a central leader, I guess. So I guess that's a good thing. Yeah. We could talk a little bit about the Virginia governor.
Oh yeah.
Ralph Northam.
I thought he was a Republican.
Yeah, I mean, he actually is a Democrat. As a matter of fact, I remember seeing. I think CNN might have accidentally labeled him as a. Hold on a second. Oh wait, no, that was something else. Never mind. Yeah, apparently he has been saying. He's actually been denying being in that racist photo. Apparently, yeah, the photo, by the way, was him in blackface, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a yearbook photo.
When I was confronted with,
I guess, a Halloween photo of him in blackface next to a guy in a Klan outfit.
Yeah.
And he says that there was
There's a quote with it, wasn't it?
There might be.
There was like a stupid quote.
Let's see. Let me see if I can find the picture. Hold on. I'll search Ralph Northam. Yeah. Northam black.
I dressed up in a.
It's not like a brown face thing, actually. It's like
what's his name? The singer? Michael Jackson, excuse me. That's why I had Pam with me. I had the shoes, I had a glove, and I used just a little bit of shoe polish to put under on my cheeks. And the reason I used a very little bit is because I don't know if anybody's ever tried that, but you cannot get shoe polish off. But it was a dance contest. I had always liked Michael Jackson. I actually won the contest because I had learned how to do the moonwalk. But then let me tell you what happened, Alan. I have
recently that he was not in the picture, but he said that he once darkened his skin for a Michael Jackson dance contest in the 80s.
When I was confronted with the images yesterday, I was appalled.
The quote is, "I believe now and then that I am not either of the people in this photo. This was not me in this picture. That was not Ralph Northam." Yeah, oh yes, he was the yearbook from the Eastern Virginia Medical School.
Is it credible, like that photo?
I'm not sure. I mean, apparently it's from the actual yearbook, so I don't know if it was put there as a joke or if it's actually him. I mean, I would suspect that it actually is him, but I don't know.
Well, is he being told to step down by the
yeah.
DNC?
I don't know if specifically the DNC, but both Mark Warner and Tim Kaine, the senators from Virginia, and others are saying that he should resign.
Oh, those other Democrats? Or?
Yeah, well, Tim Kaine is.
Oh.
Is Mark Warner a Democrat? I think he is. Let me see. Mark Warner is a Democrat, yes.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, like, you have people in your party, even like other Virginia Democrats are saying that you should step down. Even Hillary Clinton on Saturday said this has gone on too long and that he should resign.
Well, I know for a fact that on the Socialist Party USA members only Facebook page that you'd probably see a bunch of photos of socialists saying like, oh, look here, look, see, you know, Democrats are just as racist as Republicans, like they're garbage. I guess if I was to talk about that, like me leaving the party, that when I first joined, I got into that kind of cult, because it really is a cult. It's a sect. That what made me leave is they don't really do anything, and I watched this documentary. It was called The Fall and Rise of the Communist Party USA, and this one leader, a lifetime member of the party, explained how after Khrushchev gave his speech and revealed the horrors of Stalin's regime, he was like, it really destroyed his favoritism towards like communism, and how he said once you learn about the horrors of Stalin, and when that was all revealed, the Communist Party USA really didn't move out of that. They kept saying, oh, let's form a new Soviet Union, and a lot of the older lifetime members were like that dream's over. Stalin wasn't good. Like, that's...
Stalin killed more people than Hitler.
Right. And if we want to achieve a communist state, we can't go down that route ever again.
Yeah.
We need to move on. And he said that basically the Communist Party, in his eyes, kind of faded into a sect, a cult that only worshipped the Soviet Union. Yeah. And me being in it after watching that documentary and personally getting frustrated with the local and seeing online is that is what it is.
Yeah.
You have significant numbers of people that praise the Soviet Union and say, oh, it was such a great thing, and if I would only rejoin if the party became revolutionary, because they stopped being revolutionary after World War II. Is that after that, they weren't unionizing people. They weren't militant anymore. They weren't... Because before World War II, you had Eugene V. Debs, you had all these syndicalists and people who weren't so fixated on Marx and the philosophy that said, like, look, let's unionize, let's get the working people together, let's be a revolutionary party, like, different. Yeah. And it's just not... It's not revolutionary anymore.
Right.
It's a sect. It's a cult. That doesn't do anything.
Yeah, you're following an ideal rather than following a practical means of government.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if I had the power to change it, like, first off, the leaders, the National Committee of the Social Party are just inept. They don't do anything. I'd fire them. Get capable members, centralize the party, no more of this like nonsensical decentralized.
Yeah.
Like, no, have a mass socialist party, move the headquarters to Chicago, no more running socialists for government.
Yeah.
Just focus on unionizing the service industry.
Yeah.
And if locals say like, no, fuck you, we're not going to do that, then you dissolve them. You become a vanguard party, because that is the only way you can be effective.
Okay.
That socialism is authoritarian, and you use that. You have a leader saying, no, you unionize people. You get them together. Not like... So.
Yeah. So essentially use the authoritarian tendencies of socialism to benefit the people.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean that's what it comes to at the end: redistribution of wealth.
Yeah.
And FDR wasn't like he didn't. It's not like the Russian Revolution where you had people storming into houses and murdering capitalists.
Yeah.
And taking their wealth.
Right.
I mean, that's the most violent it gets, is Lenin's view of, like, capitalist...
Like, forced takeover.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But...
Yep. So, yeah, one more thing we could talk about is the measles outbreak in Washington State. How, there are diseases that, like, I forget, I think I might have been measles or potentially smallpox, where there was, like, it was considered completely eradicated until, recent years when people, like, decided to stop vaccinating their children against certain diseases like that. Smallpox, though, I think, like, has not been regularly vaccinated for in a long time, so that one, like, is pretty much considered eradicated.
Yeah.
Yeah. But measles in particular, like, let's see how strong that how strong the outbreak was, like how many people.
Well, it's a national emergency, I think, now in the state.
It might be.
Like they've shut down a bunch of schools.
Yeah.
People that caught it at a basketball game.
Yeah. According to the Clark County, Clark County Medical or Health Department, there have been 47 confirmed cases and 7 suspected cases since the beginning of the year. And apparently, I guess like one dose of the MMR vaccine is 93% effective against those diseases, whereas having 2 doses is 97% effective. And apparently, it's so contagious where you can have like 2 hours, like you can be in a room with someone, and then 2 hours after the person with measles left the room, you can still get the disease. It's that serious. Yeah. It's amazing that like some folks like just do not vaccinate the children. Like they see like there's this like completely debunked claim that vaccines cause autism. But even let's say hypothetically that vaccine,
that doctor lost his license.
He did, yeah. Let's say like even hypothetically, even if vaccines did cause autism, would you rather have an autistic child or a dead one?
Right.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And like the best way to like if you're in that area to avoid the measles is to get vaccinated.
Yeah.
I mean that's like just almost like just common sense.
Yeah. It is like in general it is anti-intellectualism.
Yeah.
Not to vaccinate.
Yeah, it's you think that you're smarter, you know what's best for your child
right.
than trained.
Like what do these doctors know? These college educated.
Yeah. Wow, it's ridiculous.
That's something that just the whole Republican Party, when Trump would talk about that during his campaign, like
yeah,
that's a cancer in the Republican Party you have to deal with, is anti-intellectualism.
Yeah, and even I'm sure that there were Republicans that knew that Trump was just talking about complete bullshit, but they realized that like their constituents buy into that. They buy into Trump more than they buy into their own representative or their senator. So they have to sort of play along with Trump in order to, basically in order to ensure that their constituents don't revolt against them, and that's dangerous for democracy.
Yeah.
I mean,
when you let people like Trump into like the political realm, it degrades the.
It degrades political discourse, and it degrades. I mean, like there's like having somebody that's outside of the political establishment is one thing. Like that can be a good thing in some cases. Yeah. Like if you think of like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, like she's outside of like the political establishment. But when you have somebody that doesn't like even understand the political process, then that's dangerous. Oh yeah, and apparently Senator Susan Collins, who made one of the deciding votes against, or rather in favor of Brett Kavanaugh, apparently got a lot of numerous out-of-state donations after her vote. Yeah, that was I think it was from Time Magazine. Yeah, so that's actually definitely like a lot of people were in favor of that. Apparently, in the final quarter of 2018, she raised $1.8 million.
The facts presented do not mean that Professor Ford was not sexually assaulted that night or at some other time, but they do lead me to conclude that the allegations failed to meet the more likely than not standard. Therefore, I do not believe that these charges can fairly prevent Judge Kavanaugh.
Yeah, I don't know how that's going to really fare for her chances in Maine.
I guess this is kind of related to the topic, but I was watching this Vox video. Well, Vox, it can be all right. It's not the most credible, but they were talking about how in American democracy, especially recently, there's this really strong divide between Democrats and Republicans, and how what you see, especially with Brett Kavanaugh and the other Supreme Court nominee, Republican Gorsuch,
Neil Gorsuch,
is how Republicans will kind of forcefully get their way, and how what you'll probably see when you get a Democratic president is Democrats doing the same thing, and how that kind of tension and kind of comebacks between the two parties is it's not good for democracy to have two fighting factions. And a way to fix that is to, I guess, change our government in ways to make it a less hostile situation between the two parties, by especially adding more seats in government, making Puerto Rico and Philippines states.
The Philippines?
Or what's the other U.S. territory?
Guam?
Yeah.
Okay.
Make those states. And also increase the number of people on the Supreme Court.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Franklin Roosevelt wanted to increase the number of people on the Supreme Court, but Congress was against that. Because they were worried that he would pack the bench with people who were further really far left or something. That's what they were worried about. And that's why they wouldn't let him do it. There was a who was this? There was a source from the White House that leaked actually copies of Trump's schedules from the past 3 months, and it shows some interesting things. On his average schedule for from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. he has what is called executive time.
What the fuck?
So it's basically supposedly he's supposed to just have time in the Oval Office from 8 to 11, but apparently he is never in the Oval Office during his hours. It says here, this is from Axios. It says instead he spends his mornings in the White House residence watching TV, reading the papers, and responding to what he sees and reads by phoning aides, members of Congress, friends, administration officials, and informal advisors. So basically, he spends every morning just watching Fox News. And there's been a few, his first meeting of the day is usually either an intelligence briefing or a half-hour meeting with the chief of staff. And then some days he has let's see. Okay, so the day after the midterms, he had his schedule was 30 minutes for a chief of staff meeting and more than 7 hours of executive time. And let's see.
So he's just basically in a room beating his meat.
Watching Fox News, apparently. Wow, I'm looking at some of this here. Yeah, he has sometimes has meetings. This is even worse. He has meetings sometimes during executive time that he doesn't want most West Wing staff to know about for fear of leaks. And sometimes those mornings include calls with heads of state, political meetings, and meetings with council and the residents. And those meetings aren't written down on his schedule. Those are completely he decides to have those meetings on his own, basically.
Wow.
And he had one of the recent schedules had a media engagement listed for this past Wednesday, and the media engagement was actually an interview with the Daily Caller, which is a very right-wing website. And apparently he has apparently during the executive time for something on Wednesday, he had a meeting with Herman Cain, who is considering for to be a governor of the Federal Reserve. So there's so many just random meetings that he's having that are just completely unlisted on the schedules because he doesn't want staffers to know about them.
That's
wow.
It's a fucking waste.
Yeah.
It doesn't do anything.
Yeah, it's like, and even like people that work in the White House are calling it completely unstructured. Like he has completely like unstructured presidency, which is ridiculous. Oh yeah, and here's some of the things I was talking about regarding like what Sarah Sanders was saying. Like there's 2 extra quotes apparently. This is like some of what Sarah Sanders is saying. President Trump has a different leadership style than his predecessors, and the results speak for themselves. While he spends much of his average day in scheduled meetings, events, and calls, there is time to allow for a more creative environment that has helped make him the most productive president in modern history.
Is he like given crayons to draw?
I don't know. That's an odd way to That's an odd word to describe it. And Sarah Sanders also said, President Trump has ignited a booming economy with lower taxes and higher wages, established the U.S. as the #1 producer of oil and gas in the world, remade our judiciary, rebuilt our military, and renegotiated better trade deals. It is indisputable that our country has never been stronger than it is today under the leadership of President Trump.
My parents just did taxes and they paid more.
Oh, yeah?
They did not get any deductible.
Wow.
That you're actually paying more under these taxes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. Wow. That is nuts.
So my dad was like, are people going to flip out when they start doing taxes and realize that they're paying more in taxes compared to...
Yeah, one thing that's kind of annoying with me is that I had a problem, like my like W-2s, like when I started working for CPS didn't go through, so it didn't deduct anything for like income, like federal or state income taxes, so now I have to pay all of that when I do my taxes.
What the fuck?
Yeah. It was some weird like clerical error I think I might have made or they might have made, so it didn't deduct anything from my taxes for that, except like I think for like the federal income tax like deducted for like the last 4 months of the year, but other than that I have to pay all my like the state and federal income taxes. I have to pay all of that when I do my taxes.
Shit.
Yeah, I did get like a okay refund though from like my student loan interest that got paid, so it wasn't as bad as it would have been, so that's not too bad, but still it's gonna be kind of annoying to have to pay all that. Yeah, but yeah, I made sure that like it's not gonna do that this year, so I know I won't be facing that problem.
Right.
So that's I
gotta do taxes this week.
Yeah, I'm gonna put it off probably for like a month or so, just so I have enough money in the bank to actually pay off what I need to pay off, just like to save up some money to do that. And I have until April anyway if I really need it, so it's not gonna be too bad, I don't think.
All right.
Yeah, I should be fine with that. Is there anything else to talk about?
No, I guess in terms of Trump's tweets during like the whole shutdown in the wall.
Okay.
Like I think he like said something like, "Oh, we're gonna build a big powerful wall that's gonna keep the bad home rays out," and something stupid like that.
Yeah, they're gonna. Well, oh yeah. Also, Sarah Sanders said that God wanted Donald Trump to be president. Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah. Oh yeah. On the 30th day of the shutdown, he tweeted 40 times. Yeah, that was actually. It also happened to be, I think, the.
Fuck? How do you find time to do that?
It was also the 2-year anniversary of his inauguration.
Oh.
Yeah. Let's see. Oh, actually, is that right? Is there actually Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah, I'm trying to see like let's see. I'm trying to find some of the tweets for that day. Okay. Amnesty. Yeah, like he was like tweeting about the potential like that amnesty might be part of the immigration agreement. He said it is a 3-year extension of DACA. Amnesty. This is a tweet from him on the 20th. Amnesty will be used only on a much bigger deal, whether on immigration or something else. Likewise, there will be no big push to remove the 11 million plus people who are here illegally. But be careful, Nancy. Like this almost comes off as like blackmail. It's like warning her, you better watch out or else this is gonna happen. Oh my God. I mean, like, yeah, this is ridiculous. This is like, imagine if he didn't have Twitter. I mean, in one sense, it's good that he has Twitter, so like people actually know what he's thinking. Yeah. But at the same time, like, this is like, I don't think there's ever been a president that's like just so directly communicated with people in this sense, in this manner.
I guess in terms of presidents that didn't really pass, he's not really done anything like substantial. He's done some really fucked up shit.
Yeah.
But he hasn't got
us into another war.
Right. And he hasn't like championed a bill or anything that's significant.
Yeah.
To like, you know, Eisenhower passed like funding for our infrastructure.
Yeah.
I mean, there have been U.S. presidents who I don't know of who aren't written about who didn't do shit in office. Like, aren't there a bunch in the middle that just?
Yeah, there's a bunch that like aren't quite as well known like that. Oh yeah, and apparently he also tweeted on that day, "Wow, just heard that my poll numbers with Hispanics has gone up 19% to 50%. That's because they know the border issue better than anyone, and they want security, which can only be gotten with a wall." Which is, yeah, like he doesn't quote a source. You know, I can say as someone who is Hispanic, like his popularity with Hispanics is not even remotely close to 50%.
Right.
Let me see if I can find like a more source to number.
I mean, I feel the greatest damage he's going to do is he's going to tarnish the. Well, I mean, the fact he's treating it like a spectacle rather than a presidency is really. I think that's going to have consequences of people, of the whole thing of electing a president becoming just a spectacle. It's no longer electing someone to improve this country and to make progressive change. It's just it just brings it lowers the bar more and more.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and people, and like I've said on the show before, like it's going to be very difficult in the future for a populist to it's for someone who isn't a populist,
right,
to get the nomination, because people are, I think, going to be conditioned to expect this sort of behavior from a president, to expect.
That's what they want, this show.
Yeah, they want this, like they want a dog and pony show as their in their elections. They want to see like just how outrageous it can be. They want it to basically be a reality show. They want to, that's what they want their elections to be.
Isn't that a line in that's part of George Orwell's like dystopian 1982?
Yeah, 1984. Yeah.
Democracy becomes.
It's a spectacle. Yeah. It becomes a spectacle. Yeah. Wow. All right.
That's how democracy dies.
Yeah.
It becomes like idiocracy.
Yeah, like idiocracy. Wow. All right. So I think that's about it. Anything else to talk about?
No.
Okay. All right. In that case, we'll conclude this edition of Radio Sheridan. Thanks for joining us.